None of the legal commentators I've even remotely bumped into or seen on whatever platform you want, none are even remotely coming close to what's happening here. They're looking at the Fani Willis case microscopically, and they're reading one sordid detail after another to you, and they're kind of clapping, and they're saying, isn't that great? The problem is that it doesn't make any difference. And this is the part that drives me crazy. I'm not here to make you be titillated. I'm not here to try to win you over to say, ooh, did you hear the latest? Did you hear what he did with so-and-so? I don't care about that. I want her gone. I want her removed, ablated, expurgated, expunged from the juridical landscape. And the way this is going to be done is not through this stupidity called conflict of interest. It doesn't exist. And what's happening is that you see people, I can't believe it, people who are really pretty good at this, who are pointing to, look, she paid for his ticket or he paid for her ticket. Therefore, conflict of interest. There's no conflict of interest. That's not conflict of interest. What's the stake in the claim, in the case? Nothing. She could hire right now her husband if she had a husband. A husband can hire a wife. That's not conflict of interest. None. Think about that. A wife prosecutor can hire her husband to be a special prosecutor to get paid more than anybody else, and that is not conflict of interest for purposes of having her removed from the case. Let me say this again to you, and it's critical that you understand this. That doesn't mean she has to be removed. It doesn't mean any of that. It doesn't mean that she has a stake in the case. It doesn't mean that a defendant is somehow going to be deprived of a fair trial. Doesn't matter to Trump. Trump could be convicted, whether he's convicted of a woman who hires her boyfriend or her cousin or is married or not married. No, it doesn't make any difference. Now, if Fani Willis theoretically was having a relationship with one of the defense lawyers, then we've got something. Because then we've got a stake in the claim, in the case rather. Then we've got somebody who said, are you going to throw it to benefit the boyfriend? Is the boyfriend going to throw it to benefit her? Now we're talking about something. In a previous case, Fani Willis was disqualified because the man that she targeted through her special, and I'm giving you this air quotes, the special grand jury, was the person whose opponent she supported and threw a fundraiser for. Let me say this again. That's conflict of interest. She's prosecuting the man whose opponent she supports. Forget the fundraiser I gave you. I'll prosecute and imprison your opponent. That's conflict of interest. So what is the answer, my friend? The answer is to get her on felony perjury, obstruction of justice. I'm saying this to the point I'm boring myself. I'm saying this repeatedly and nobody listens because you're too far off into the world of titillation and lies and Terrence Bradley. We're talking obstruction of justice, jury tampering, and lying. Okay, let's talk about the threats that have been made to key witness Terrence Bradley. From whom? Lawyers for co-defendants and from Fani herself. Number one, tampering, witness tampering, theoretically. And if you don't think the case can be made for that, you don't know the federal government. Next, obstruction of justice. If I'm a lawyer and I know there are motions, there are cases being filed, motions that are adverse to me, and I pick up the phone and I talk to the main witness of those motions, me knowing that this is going to be heard before a judge, dear God, not only do you lose your license, you could lose your freedom. This is extortion. This is like, what? You're not the leaker, are you? But nobody's going after that. No, they're talking about the trips and he used the garage door. I mean, just stuff that's might be, movie of the week, kind of titillating, something that's tawdry, something that may make an SNL skit or something, but that's nothing to do from a legal point of view. There's no legal standard that's involved in it. What is this? What are you talking about? What is happening here? Well, I don't understand this. Now, the next thing that has to be done is through the legislature and the governor. Governor Kemp, Republican. Now, there's a lot of stuff going around. Bills and legislation that gives a certain committee the rights, the abilities, the jurisdiction to remove a prosecutor who is acting improperly. Why? Because we have these Soros guys. We have these reform candidates. And the man with the most gargantuan elephantine balls and huevos, he may be a lousy candidate, but Ron DeSantis removed Andrew Warren, who was the prosecutor, the state attorney for Hillsborough County, for my old jurisdiction, the 13th Judicial Circuit. Remember that? And he did it because Andrew Warren pledged ahead of time not to prosecute certain crimes pursuant to this lunatic George Soros referendum, this reform justice nonsense, restorative justice, not going after transgender this or that. Oh, no. So what Governor DeSantis said, and he had the power under the Constitution, he can remove a prosecutor who is involved in misfeasance, nonfeasance, public intoxication, substance abuse, or felony. Or somebody who is saying a priori, I'm not going to do my job. Now, Georgia does not have anything as perfect as that, but things can be done. So what happens is the secret of this, the removal, the secret sauce, the special sauce, is in Governor Kemp moving forward. Because this judge, if he does the right thing, and I know this drives people crazy, but he cannot find that there is a conflict of interest merely because of the allegations that have been made. I'm sorry. I know very much you want that not to be the case, but it is. But the way you get her, I mean permanently get her. Not only do you get her and perhaps charge her with very serious felonies, maybe something even, dare I say, racketeering level, but permanently branding her indelibly with this political kryptonite status is to go after her for this. Obstruction of justice, witness tampering, and a perjury. She's toast. She's done. She's through. Fani Willis doesn't want to be a prosecutor. Fani Willis wants to be queen. And I know how to dethrone that queen. Now, my friend, do me a favor. Number one, subscribe to this channel. If you think you're subscribed, make sure. Because sometimes people say, hey, I'm unsubscribed. Make sure you do this. 60 to 70%, they say, of people who watch videos on a regular basis aren't even subscribed to that channel. Let's fix that. Also, dear friend, make sure you hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And whatever you do, I ask you right now, in the comment section, to bless us with your brilliance and comment as you see